Hi everyone, Graham Couch here from the Lansing State Journal along with my Detroit Free Press colleague Chris Solari after Michigan State's 28-7 loss to Penn State today. A game that leaves them 4-4, and I think, it's 3 straight losses to the top 10 teams. It's been a brutal schedule and all that, but it's how they've lost and how the games have gone about that I think has most people frustrated. Even though the yardage was somewhat similar today, it did not feel like a close competitive game where Michigan State really had any hope for most of the game.
Yeah, there was no semblance of offense early in the game. Penn State runs up a couple big plays for touchdowns. A lot of the similar things that we've seen in different ways than in the other games, but similar plays, similar outcomes. The defense, I thought, played a little better today. I mean, it gave up 302 yards. A lot of that came as Penn State was grinding out the clock in the fourth quarter, but you got to make stops in critical moments. You need to make explosive plays on offense, which are lacking. You got one big play from Brian Lewerke to Cody White that helped set up the lone touchdown, but that's got to be the norm, and they're struggling to do that, especially against the caliber of defense that they faced the last 3 games.
They went before their first touchdown. They went 24 straight possessions without a score. 16 punts in there, 5 turnovers.
8 quarters.
8 quarters. I mean, just that's the stuff that. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
It's 123 minutes and 36 seconds, I believe, without a score.
Right. If this was 1919, maybe you can get away with that. And 2019, that's not really. That doesn't really work in college football. So where do you go from here if you were this Michigan State football?
Into another bye week. I mean, that's the reality is, and if you're Mark D'Antonio, if you're the veteran leaders on this team, you have to worry about that message getting stale. This is the second bye week in 3 weeks. You're coming off another loss to a top 10 team, just like you were with the Wisconsin game. A lot of these same messages and themes are being repeated over and over again. And when you have veteran guys, they've dealt with this. They can tune it out. It can be tuned out pretty easily. They've got to keep this fresh for them, but also to let the younger guys know that this can't happen. I talked to Raekwon Williams after the game, and he brought up the 2016 season. He said, I'm going to let my guys know that this can get worse. And I asked him, I said, do you think in 2016 you felt that it could? And he said, no, we did not think it could get worse then. So they have at least a referential point of experience to dealing with that. They also have a much more favorable schedule. But Illinois is playing significantly better, so you can't overlook that game anymore now. You've got Rutgers, who's got to win this week. Granted, it was against Liberty, and but you still have to go and play them on the road. And then you've got Maryland at the end of the year, and where are you going to be at the end of the year? That's going to be after the Michigan game. So I mean, a lot of things mentally are still to be determined.
Yeah, worst case scenario, and this is why you don't, the idea of going to Rocky Lombardi now, who they went to in the fourth quarter here. Mark D'Antonio kind of put that to bed. He said he still thinks Brian Lewerke gives them the best chance to win, and you better do that now, because if you don't use the quarterback who gives you the best chance to win, you'll lose to Illinois. He's playing a lot better. Just went on the road today in Purdue and won easily after upsetting Wisconsin. And then you're in the worst case scenario, which you're going to win at Rutgers. That's an awful football team. But what you don't want to be is 5-6 coming off a loss to Michigan, playing in an empty Spartan Stadium on Thanksgiving weekend against Maryland to get to 6-6 to go play in Detroit in the bowl game.
Yeah.
That is the scenario you are trying to absolutely avoid. And they're, look, you just don't give up on seasons like their schedule has been brutal. And you and I I don't know if we agree on this completely, but if they had played Minnesota's schedule, I believe they'd be 8-0. Would they have a lot of the same problems? Yeah, confidence would be different. Schedule has a lot to do with it. They didn't get a favorable one.
And I still would say that the problems that were there against Tulsa and Arizona State, you've seen extrapolated against top 10 teams the last 3 weeks. I mean, let's face it. I mean, is there another team left on Michigan State's schedule as good as Penn State, Wisconsin, or Ohio State? Not even close. Is there a team as good as Arizona State? That could be argued.
No, you're absolutely right. And to the point where you see a lot on social media now, and you see a lot of there is a lot of the move on from the coach, fired D'Antonio crowd. They are not going to fire Mark D'Antonio. I just don't see it. And you don't do it. First of all, you don't get rid of your all-time winningest coach like that, right? You just don't. And so people need to. I think you can be frustrated there. There need to be, I think, very important conversations with him about the future of the program.
What happens if it becomes like the previous 2016?
Does he want to be a part of that? Right. Well, that's the thing. It could still get worse if it does get really bad, but it can't get to that point because it can't get to 3-9 because you do have Rutgers and Maryland, and they're already in those spirals. There's just no, look, yes, everything's possible. If those games went the way that went the disastrous way.
Well, believe me, no one thought they would lose at Illinois in 2016.
Yeah, but they beat Rutgers 45-0 that year too.
They did.
I mean, that's, there's a level of just not competing at the
I think
Division
you
I
forget
level.
how bad Illinois was that year, though.
That's true. I'm not saying disasters can't happen out there. I think this is a different team in terms of leadership. I think this is a different. D'Antonio will like this group for that. I think there's.
But this is where I say about the message getting stale. These are the same leaders that have been there and saying the same things for the last 2 years and seeing the same results. You have to worry about that and about guys who are at the back end of their careers who probably have pro futures starting to check out on that. They can't do that. They have to keep it fresh.
I'm not saying it's going to be fun. I'm not saying it's not going to be ugly at times. I'm not saying it's going to be pretty. I'm not saying there aren't some really hard discussions. What is not going to happen though is they are not going to kick him out of the building. I don't think, and that's just me. So I think your best hope is that there are some frank discussions, and he either makes the decision that he doesn't want to do this, or he makes the decision that he wants to stay in the fight, and that he makes some significant changes to his program from a recruiting standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, offensive standpoint, to give that a shot to happen. We'll have complete coverage at freep.com, lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. Thanks for listening.